Okay, so we have a few people who just came in. I can see Golden Mind Concert Music. I can see Jody. I can see Zama. Welcome, guys. I can see Apollo's Grace. You guys are welcome. Okay, welcome, Richard Boniface. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's event. SG Virtual, a fireside chat with Mr. Dimbo Atiya. Okay, we have 5 people. We have Ese Ogene Ebziba in the house. That's one of the team members for Startup Grind Jos. So guys, officially we will be starting the event. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 17th edition of Startup Grind Jos Fireside Chat. Today we are having a virtual event because of what's going on in the world today, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. And then we hope that the same value which we have been bringing to you all this while is what we'll be able to also have today. So join me in welcoming our special guest, Mr. Dimbo Atiya, the CEO of Innovative Television Kontents. You're highly welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mayokun, and all the attendees. Thank you for such an honor and an opportunity. I am really, really overwhelmed and glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So a little brief about Startup Grind. Startup Grind is a global community for entrepreneurs with headquarters in Silicon Valley, California, USA. It was started 10 years ago, and then in the course of time, we have spread to about 600 cities of the world and in over 125 countries. In the city of Jos, we started meeting about 2 years ago, and then we've had amazing entrepreneurs on our platform who have been sharing their stories. We've had fireside chats, we've had panel sessions, and we've had workshops. So that's Startup Grind in a jiffy. This month of April is a mentorship month in Startup Grind, and it is being supported by Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services is a cloud hosting platform where techies can host their applications. And then they have some offers for us, attendees of this event, which includes cloud credits to the tune of $100,000, which you can claim for your startup to host your application. So after this event, you'll be receiving an email with links to how you can apply for the Amazon Web Services Cloud Credit. So briefly, I'm going to share my screen and play a 2-minute presentation from Amazon Web Services. After that, we will now go into the fireside chat.
Okay.
There's a reason why for the last 13 years, startups overwhelmingly prefer to build on top of AWS. We have the largest number of services, making it easy for you to take on some of the biggest challenges with the smallest teams. We also have partnerships with the top VCs, accelerators, and incubators around the world, making it easier to secure your next round of funding.
I'm a solution architect with the AWS Head Start program. What we do is we work with startups in the education sector, and we help them build their services on AWS.
So We Power Tech is AWS's diversity diversity and inclusion outreach program. The program is really twofold. One is to increase the number of underrepresented technologists within the industry, and the second is to provide a platform for them to be seen and heard.
If you're wondering how the AWS Evangelism team might be able to help your startup, there are many ways. We're technically credible across our entire catalog of products, so we can help you figure out which services might be able to meaningfully impact your business. We also want to help tell your story. So if you're building something cool, we want to know about it and help spread that message to the world. So you might end up on stage at an event like AWS Summit. If you're a startup, you should also definitely check out the AWS Lofts. These are event spaces that are free to anyone with an AWS account. And you can treat them like co-working spaces, but the awesome thing about them is that we also have people like technical evangelists like myself, solutions architects that come and give hands-on technical workshops and sessions to help you learn how to more effectively utilize the AWS products and platforms that you're already building on top of.
We are a dedicated team of people that love startups. We just want to come and help you with whatever we can, whether it be technical or business focused. We are here to help guide you and make sure that you do have a say in what's going on. We do get your feedback. We do bring that feedback to the service teams. That is what we're here for.
All right. Welcome back.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very insightful,
Yeah. I hope we all saw that video. I hope it was clear enough. So please take advantage of what AWS is giving to the Startup Grind community going forward. So once again, I don't think I introduced myself at the start of this presentation. My name is Mo Abudu, the director of Startup Grind Jos. And then here with me in the house, we have Ese Ogene Ebziba. I can see her. She's one of our team members, and she's going to be coordinating the chat room. So attendees, you have the opportunity to ask Mr. Dimbo Atiya some questions later on in the event. Okay, so let's get started proper. Mr. Dimbo, welcome once again.
Thank you very much. Like I said, it's a huge honor. Thank you guys for even considering that I am worthy of being on this platform. And for everybody that has joined to hear my story, please, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time and your data. That's very important.
Of course, Mr. Dimbo, you are more than worthy to be on this platform. Through confession, I've been trying to reach out to you for quite a while. But being a very busy person that you are, I've been meeting with some barricades.
But here we are. I mean, the good thing that COVID can make happen.
Yeah. So now we can have the event virtually.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you for agreeing to be on this platform at very short notice. Just this week, we had a phone call, and you agreed to be here with us. And immediately we set up promoting the event, and here we are today. We don't want to take this for granted. On behalf of the Startup Grind Just team, thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so sir, I would like you to start by giving us an introduction of yourself. Who are you? Tell us.
Okay.
Who is Mr. Dimbo Atiya?
Okay. I'm a Nigerian. Like you can rightly see, I'm a proud Nigerian. I was born, bred, buttered, fried, roasted in Jos. So on the other side, I'm a proper Jos boy. But I come from Nasarawa State in the north central part of Nigeria. I come from a small village called Aruntumara. Aruntumara is not far from Akwanga local government. Yeah, but I was, like I said, I grew up in Jos. Pretty much my foundation, everything about me kind of started up in Jos. And so everything that I have exhibited, it pretty much was the thing that the city of Jos gave to me. I went to school like every other person. My foundation was solid, so to say, in that my parents, who were just very basic civil servants, were earning small salary, felt that they needed to give us a very good foundation in terms of education. And so we started off very well, so to say. When I say very well, at that time, when your children went to private school, the government schools were good at that time, but the private schools were even better. So if two civil servants were able to send their children to private schools, it was a deliberate attempt to give us a good foundation. But after our private school, that's what they call it, the primary foundation. Secondary school, we were allowed to go to public schools, and so our books started from private schools, and then I had to go to public schools for my secondary education. That is where the Agbero now came in, because they're now flashing, So I have the balance of going to a private institution and going to public institution. So, I'm not sure it was something that they thought about, like they sat down and decided, oh, we'll send them this way, send them this way. I don't know if they've ever had that conversation, but somehow it worked, So yeah, I had my basic education. I went to school at the private Gindiri Staff School, which is somewhere in Plateau State. And then went to secondary school in Plateau College. I don't know if anybody remembers the school. There was a school called Plateau College, just after Panchin. It was a private school owned by Samala Indayako, Dr. Samala Indayako. It was a private school that was in the bush. You don't understand, like almost all the rich people, yes, it's a bush, a village called Sharam on your way out, if you're living Panchin, as if you know what Plateau State is. But rich people sent their kids there. There was an Oba that had his daughter there, an Emir that had his children there. So they were rich kids. It was a very solid private school. I went there for my SS1 to 3, and then, JSS 1 to 3, and then I left for science school, where I did my science school education. And then went to the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, studied journalism, went to the Nigerian Film School, the Nigerian Film Institute, learned filmmaking, and then went to the New York Film Academy, both in California and in New York, just to better my. So that's pretty much basic. I am married. I used to be an Arsenal fan, but I dropped Arsenal 4 years ago. I went on loan to Liverpool, and then now I'm a full-time Liverpool fan. And all the Black Bele people that say, all the Black Bele people say they should cancel the season now. But bottom line, that's it. I'm married to a beautiful lady called Karachi Atiya. She's Igbo from Abia. This is our 10th year of marriage. We don't have any kids yet. We're trusting God for it. But it's been wonderful. My journey cannot be described without Karachi in my life. So pretty much, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a TV and a film showrunner, writer, producer, director, art director. Pretty much, I do everything. Yeah. To my credit, I've done TV series. I did a calculation, because that's how you do it in the industry. You calculate the number of hours or minutes you have produced that has been broadcast. And I produced about 10,000 minutes of TV and film that has been broadcast. So that is huge in terms of the work that I've done. I'm sure some people have seen some of the Caliphate, which was what really launched me in the industry. I'm currently working on a TV series, about 240 episodes for African Magic called Halita. I've done mini documentaries for Ebony Life TV, Naija Diamonds, so pretty much. And then our first film, which we produced, my wife and I, is also free on YouTube, so you can check it out after the seminar. It's called Drawing Strength. It's a faith-based film, because we also run a ministry called ETC, Entertainment Future. That's pretty much the summary of who Dimbo is.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir, for that introduction. Many people did not know that you are not actually born, or rather, you are not an indigene of Jos.
No, I'm not an indigene of Plateau State. People don't know that, but Jos is my home. Everything I know, my life, my friends, family, is Jos. I can't even remember the last time I went to my village or I went to my state capital. I don't remember. I'm not that connected, not because I don't recognize it. I know that it's there. I know that I'm from there, but my life is pretty much Jos. As a matter of fact, the plan is to own a house in Jos. When I retire, by God's grace, when I'm old, I want to retire back to Jos. Everything that I am today is because of what Jos has given to me. Every foundation, everything that has held me down is actually based in Jos.
And then you started the platform Justified.
Oh, absolutely.
Which used to be a very popular brand. I remember few years ago, I used to see the Justified shirts, on almost all the A-list actors and musicians in Nigeria. Tell us a little bit about Justified. What was it all about?
Yeah. So when the crisis started seriously in Jos, there was this huge divide, amongst Christians, Muslims, the indigenous and non-indigenous. But I clearly remember growing up in Jos and having friends that are Muslim, and we were all very close friends. We went to the same schools. We knew our parents knew each other. We pretty much had a relationship. There was a time when Fulani people would pass with their cars and nobody made it an issue, But when the crisis started, it seemed that there were some people that were bent on creating that divide. And one day in my head, I was just doing some calculation and I realized that Jos has provided so much. There were so many things that Jos has done, and why are we trying to throw it away? Why are we trying to destroy this fantastic city? And for me, the first thing that came to my mind was, how can I connect young people? That was my thinking. How can I connect young people who are creating this divide, are widening this divide? And I wanted a platform where everybody could recognize it. I wanted a platform where everybody who was passionate about Jos and had some sort of deep connection with Jos would easily recognize, and you wouldn't even know if the person is a Muslim, indigenous, or not indigenous. And so the word Justify just came. Like, to be honest with you, it just happened. Just changing U and O, it just made sense. And I did the design, did the t-shirt, and that was it. It just caught fire, like everybody, Muslims, Christians. And the truth is that I didn't give it any definition, so to say. What we decided was that, however you feel like defining Jos and the experience that you have, that is your definition of Justified. And so we decided, let's promote it. And there was a time I went around, met some of the celebrities that started off from Jos, Two-Face, MI, just you name them. All the guys were excited about it. Eretiola Doyle, too many people. We started pushing it. And then, fortunately for us, Kevin Palm was going to the Big Brother house. And I met him at the airport. And as a matter of fact, my wife and I were on our way to see MI in Lagos. We stopped at the airport because she was going to send something somewhere, and then we met Kevin, and he was actually on his way to South Africa. Apparently he was going to the Big Brother, but he couldn't tell anybody. So I now told him, I said, you're traveling, what's happening, and I said to him, I said, you know what, yeah, Just Boy, I'm my brother, I have this t-shirt, take it. I'll take it to MI, but I'll give it to you. And that's how he got the t-shirt, went into the house, wore the t-shirt, and it just became something big and very popular. So pretty much that's the summary about what Justify was. And so at the time in which it was needed, I pushed it very hard. But then at some point I now realized that, people were already doing it the way they wanted, they were pushing it. And so, decided to just let everybody just do it their own way, Pretty much that's the summary of it.
All right. That's really, really great. And I believe that to a very large extent, you have been successful with your mission for Justified.
But absolutely, I would say it was successful because right now, if anybody were to justify t-shirt, the last thing that comes to your mind, you will be thinking, oh, is he a Muslim or a Christian? The first thing that that this guy has a connection with Jos, and that was all I wanted. And so before you start asking and probing and start trying to understand who he is, where he comes from, is he an indigenous or not, the first thing that comes to your mind is that this guy is a Jos guy. Oh, she's a Jos babe. That's pretty much it.
Fantastic. Okay, sir. So let's go into your journey into the entertainment world. You are someone who have done some amazing works in the Nigerian entertainment industry, and then your works have gone really, really far. I know some of your works are on Netflix. You just mentioned that you have content even on YouTube that is free for people to watch, and you have produced 10,000 minutes of content, video content for the world to watch. Amazing productions. Talking about Sons of the Caliphate, Alita, Joint Strength. How did your journey into the entertainment industry begin?
So a lot of times I try to let people know that I wasn't, or I am still not that sort of person that likes to project and define 5 years or 10 years. My long-term goals are not like, they're not like that long. I don't do those type of long-term goals because for me, I never know where where life would take me to. And so as much as I know that, oh, I want to be the best producer in Nigeria, sometimes I don't sit down and say, oh, it's going to be in the next 10 years. I don't know. I don't think like that. I just work towards getting to that place. And if it takes me 3 years, 5 years, what I know is that there's an ultimate goal ahead of me. But it will shock you to know that I did not even start off in life wanting to be in the entertainment industry. Pretty much, my dad was not a social person. He was a very calm guy. So there was nothing funky about him. He just loved the music, stay home, watch TV. He would go out and drink maybe like 2 bottles of beer and come back. Even if he was drunk, you would never know. He was such a cool, calm guy. My mom was a hustler. She's the one that was always out there doing things, but she wasn't too social also. She was not a hustling, but I'm making sure that I had children. So I would say that there was some sort of background that I had from the house where there was art and there was creativity, or there was that was not my situation. Like I said, there were just ordinary civil servants trying to survive, and so our situation was for us just to survive. We knew that the paycheck always finished maybe like the first 3-5 days of the month, because it was small paycheck, and then the remaining month we need to find ways to survive. So pretty much that was the setup. So it wasn't anything getting like, oh, I had a father who was a DJ, or I had a father who was in broadcasting. No, that was not my situation. So my foundation wasn't really around entertainment. I guess for me, but then something that you must understand is that I think that my dad has some sort of creative juice in him, but it wasn't something that he exploited. Why? Because my name is Dimbo Ba. And I can confidently say in the entire clan, or in my entire village, or in my entire state, I'm the oldest person with that name. Why? Because it's not a generic name. Wow. Yes, my dad actually created the name. When he wanted to name his son, he didn't take one of those generic names from the village or from where he came from. No, he decided he was going to form a name, and he created a name called Dimbo Ba. And what it means is catch them and bring. That's the meaning of my name. Wow. Get them and bring. Whatever it is that he wanted me to catch and bring, me, I don't know, Sha. But he created the name. So I'm kind of like the oldest person. I can confidently say in my entire state or in this whole country. I don't know, maybe there are other people that are called Dimbo, but I know that from where I come from, I'm the oldest person with the name. So that kind of gave me an insight in who my dad was. I guess he was the creative person that felt there was a need for him. I mean, imagine in 1973. A man was thinking about naming his son different from every other people. That's some sort of creativity there. So maybe that part of it was what I took, the creative part of me. But other than that, there was no such influence around me. I didn't have much exposure to the art in growing up. No, I didn't. I just went to school like any other child. Pretty much maybe the only place I had to explore was when I was in primary school. Maybe art class or whatever, but that's pretty much it. But then, I now went to school, and my entire journey into this started when I was in the Polytechnic in Barkinladi in Plateau State. I was reading urban and regional planning. Urban and regional planning was pretty much design cities, and that was what I was doing. And then we decided we were going to organize a demonstration in school to demand for better services, and that snowballed into a riot. And I was part of the leaders of the riot, and we were expelled from school. And for a while, I was at home, no admission, I was not doing anything. And then the Nigerian Institute of Journalism now opened up in Jos. And my mother's best friend, Martina Kure, was now the head of the school. And she came visiting one day to the house, and she saw me lazy about doing nothing. And she asked my mother, so what do you intend to do with this boy? And my mom said, she doesn't even know. The boy is becoming a problem for her. And she said, well, now I have this school that they just started, and I'm the director. Bring him, let him just come and do a certificate course. At least let him be doing something. So I got admission, and then went to the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, and day one, I fell in love with the school. Not because it has infrastructure, no. I entered the first class, which was radio production, and I met this Hausa man, this Fulani man with very strong Fulani accent, teaching radio production. His name is Man and All. And that's how I fell in love with the class, because the guy was so brilliant. Class was fun. I enjoyed it, and there were fine girls in the class, to be honest, And so I knew that I was going to come. I knew I was going to come back the following day, and that was how my journey into the entertainment industry started. I went back to the class the following day, and then And then gradually, it just became something that I really wanted to do. And then I found out while I was in the institute that there is actually a film school in Jos that I didn't know about. And so I went there to find out one day, and they told me, oh, well, you are meeting people right now. You want to come? I said, okay, when I finish with Institute of Journalism, I'll come. And that's how I went to the Nigerian Film School and did my 2 years, and then came to Abuja to start up a production company with a very good friend of mine called Polycarp Gomos. We started what's called Bashit Entertainment, and at that time it was supposed to be like a theme, sound, production, whatever. I started running the place, but we fell out, issues, and at that time that we were falling out, that was when the British Council was doing a project called, I've forgotten the name now. There was a project that British Council was doing at that time, Creative Life, and I applied, and I was given a scholarship. Wow. At the Lagos Business School, and that's how I met my wife. She was also on scholarship there in the same class. At that time, there were like 100 young entrepreneurs in the creative industry that were gathered, and we were talking Emma. A lot of young entrepreneurs who are doing very well right now were in that same setup, you know. And by the time I left that project, after like 4 or 5 months, I knew that this was what I really wanted to do. And now that I had the idea of how I was going to make money from it, it was even more interesting for me, you know. And then I got my first production gig with Mo Abudu to produce a documentary called Naija Diamonds. And then I did Moments to More. And that was pretty much how I started. And at this point, I had not done anything. She just took a huge gamble and said, Dimbo, you sound like somebody who knows and wants to do this thing. I'm going to give you an opportunity. You've never done it before. Take. This is how much you're going to. A huge amount of money was sent into my account. And for about 13 weeks, I had like about 12 guys that went around this country looking for amazing stories, and Naija Diamonds was a hit. And by the time I had finished, we did Moment to More. She now went to start Ebony Live, wanted me to come along, but I didn't want to come along. I wanted to go do my own thing. So I left. That was 2012. Went to the New York Film Academy in California and did a course and training there. And by the time I came back, I knew that I was equipped to start my own thing. And that was how I did some short films. I was trying to just get my feet. And then 2015, and I went back to the New York Film Academy through the Project Act Nollywood. It was a Good Luck Jonathan initiative. I got scholarship to go back, and I went back in 2015. The moment I came back, because of what I was taught and how I knew, that was how Sons of the Caliphate was created. I was able to pick Sons of the Caliphate, and in 10 minutes it got picked up because I had all the ideas on how I was going to do it, and that's how Sons of the Caliphate was picked up. So pretty much, there was a divine thing in me getting into the creative. But as much as I like talking about divine, because I'm a faith man of faith, I also like to always emphasize on the works. So yes, the divine part is there, which I acknowledge, but there was also the effort that I put into, you know, creating the interest that I needed. If I did not go back to that class after the first time that I went to it, I thought it wasn't interesting enough, I probably wouldn't have found the need to go back and do what I'm doing right now. So there was a genuine effort from my side to explore this thing that I started feeling inside of me, that it just felt like I could do something, you know. So the genuine effort to explore that was what I kept doing. I kept pushing, and then started looking for more. I became thirsty for how I could do this thing, you know, and so here we are today. So that's pretty much how I journeyed into, you know, but like I said, it wasn't like I went to a career guidance, whatever class, or I sat down with somebody and I was told, oh, this is a career path that you can choose from. No. It was just something that happened into, and when I got and I realized that this is something that I was very happy about waking up every morning to, I decided I was going to build on it. You know, so that's a lesson there for somebody. A lot of times you feel that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, but you wake up every morning and you're sad that you're going to go do this thing. There are other things that you wake up to and you're gingered and you want to do. You feel that that's pretty much probably your calling. You know, you're probably doing the things that you're not supposed to be doing. There's something that makes you happy, that keeps you going every morning that you wake up. So if you're there, and that's pretty much how I realized that this is what I wanted to do.
Wow, interesting. Thank you very much for that, sir. So basically, there was a stroke of the divine.
Yeah.
And maybe let's just say also a stroke of chance in what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we are so glad at your success. You're a true J-Town ambassador.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, sir, basically, there's nothing one would do in life that does not come with challenges. Can you share with us some challenges you have faced along the way to be who you are today, sir?
I think that most of the challenges that we face are basic things that a lot of us grow up facing. Self-doubt. At some point, you probably start telling yourself, I'm not good enough for this. Can I do this thing? And every human being has that. The moments that you question yourself, and the difference between those who make it and those who don't is when you're able to cross that line and you answer the question yourself. Because when you wake up and you tell yourself, I can't do this, then you have crossed the line, but then you have defeated yourself, or maybe it just directs you to another thing that you need to be doing. You can cross the line telling yourself, oh, I can get this done. But there were times I needed to take decisions, like leaving Jos and coming to Abuja to come and start my career. It was a huge decision that I needed to take. It was a gamble. It was a question that I keep asking myself, are you doing the right thing? You want to leave the comfort of this city where you don't need an AC. You have the support. Everybody that you know is here. If you're hungry, you just enter the neighbor's house and eat. Pretty much everything was your support. You want to leave it and come to Abuja and start your life. It was pretty much a decision that I needed to take. Do you think you're worth it? Can you make it? Those are the questions I entered. So initially, the challenge was me trying to understand and define if this is really what I wanted to do. And let me tell you why I also battle with it. I have a very good friend of mine called Dapt. He's a very renowned gospel musician in Jos. And that was still on the level, he was on 200 level active department, University of Jos, when he decided he was going to leave that and go into full-time ministry. This is his 21st year full-time ministry, doing this thing consecutively. But I remember the conversation that I had with him the day he decided he was going to leave school. He came to my house. He was a very good friend of mine. I was one of his biggest fans. And we had a conversation. He told me he wanted to leave school to follow music. And I told him, and I said, are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you really confident that down the line you're not going to regret that you left architecture to go for this music? What if you get tired of music? What happens? Finish school first and He said to me, no, that God's calling is now. He wants to go into it now. And I remember saying to him, I said, man, all you have to do is make sure that down the line you justify why you took this decision. And so when I wanted to make my own decision, it was easy to reflect and say to yourself, whatever decision you take right now, make sure that down the line you can justify it. And so it didn't take me long again to decide to pack my things and leave Jos and move to Abuja. And that was the other problem. So where are you moving to Abuja? I think I was somewhere around 30 something, And I ended up in my mother's couch in Karu. Yes, my mother's couch. I was sleeping on her couch. A big man. I had the idea. I was sleeping on the couch in my mother's house at the age of 30. When my mates in the village had 4 children. But that was the first challenge, so I had to deal with that. And then it wasn't such an easy thing. She was just a normal civil servant, hand to mouth, and I had to live through that. So it was a struggle trying to survive that situation. Every day, everybody would go out in the morning and I'll be at home eating food. Pretty much that situation also was challenging in trying to tell yourself, you're a failure. This Abuja move did not work. And when my friend decided he was going to start up, massive entertainment in Abuja, that was a good place because I now had the reason to leave the house. It was in Guarimpa and I started going, and so everything now started coming in place. But in terms of say stabilizing the career, finding myself and making sure, I realized that the industry had there were so many things I needed to define. So it wasn't just going into TV production or film production. Initially, I told myself I was a director. I didn't even know I had the strength to be a producer. And so I insisted I was a film director or TV director, and I started going there. But then the challenge was also that I somehow knew that was not really what I wanted to do, But then I kept telling myself, but this is what you have come out of the world to come and do now. So keep going and learning from that place, And then also the mind to now tell myself the truth. I say, you need to realign. And that was when I realized, I said to yourself, you're going to be a producer instead of a director. So the effort of living. So bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that you yourself, you're the first challenge because you're the first person that will start denying yourself. You're the first person that will push yourself to go forward. And once you're able to handle yourself, in terms of understanding the decision and saying to yourself, look, self, this is what we must do. Then you have crossed the first hurdle. Because unless you're able to do that, then people will push you left, right, and center. And once I was able to deal with that situation, I knew that every other thing was going to be basic, you know. And so the other challenges that you get is actually the challenge of stepping into the industry and being accepted, you know. And it wasn't going to be easy because nobody was going to give you the room and say, come and take my position. No, you had to take it. And nobody was willing to. I was a just boy in Abuja. Everything else was happening in Lagos. So there was a need to now move to Lagos and go and get it happening, you know. And I stepped into Lagos, got the first job with Mo Abudu. I was lucky, you know. But then it was also that I gave her the impression that I could do this thing. I sold myself well to her. And when she saw it, she knew that this guy has never produced anything, but the way he talks and the way he sounds like somebody who I should challenge. And I got the challenge, you know. But then that's the other one. I knew that once I got this opportunity, I needed to stay there. And how are you going to stay there? By doing it right. And let me tell you how I did it right. On a good day, normally young people, when you see plenty of money, you get very worked up, you get greedy, you get selfish, and before you know it, you're spending money that is not yours, and then you're compromising on quality just so you meet up with deadline, and then that was my first opportunity, and I knew that I needed to deliver, and I needed to deliver well. I had almost 5.something million naira in my account for this project. I am telling you between God and man that I finished this project and I gave them back change.
Amazing.
They were shocked. Yes. When I finished Naija Diamonds, I went back, they did their audit down to credit card that I bought with that money, I accounted for it, and they had change left.
Wow.
And it blew their mind. Who is this boy? You had money that was given to you and you brought back change. It was unheard of. Producers will eat your money and they will even complain that the money is not enough. But I was also naive, but I knew that I needed to take the chance and the opportunity. And you know, so the struggle also and the challenge was trying to make sure that I stepped into that position and I gave myself some sort of advantage. And so when I went in there, don't forget also the fact that I needed to put quality on the table. So there were things that I had to go and do and I didn't want to compromise. You know, it wasn't easy. People kept telling you things like, you are just overdoing this thing. You are doing eye service. Why would you want to do this? You know, people would tell you things. You started hearing stories about how producers will cut half of the budget and go and buy cars and buy houses. You are here forming. You know, I knew I couldn't do that. You know, so I started building some sort of integrity for myself in the industry. And pretty much, you know, like people thought that you were the wackiest person around. You're not smart. That's why you're broke. You know. But it worked because my reputation till today, if you call Mo Abudu, she will tell you, Dimbo, I can trust Dimbo. I can tell Dimbo, take money, I'm going to do whatever, and don't have to worry about it. That's the reputation that I've built for myself. So I had those challenges of trying to, you know, fighting against myself, fighting against the opinions of people. But then basically, almost all the other challenges are things that every other person faces in this industry. The lack of manpower or expertise, the lack of infrastructure, life, whatever it is that you need to make life work easy for you. The lack of opportunity, because most of the opportunity in the industry in this Nigeria is a gang up. If you're not in the cabal, forget it. You know, you're not invited into the cabal, you know. And so going and finding those opportunities, that's why a lot of young people are out there with talent. They can't get the opportunity because it's been locked up, you know. And so the avenues are not there to express yourself. Even when they are there, they're limited. You know, and so those were the basic challenges that I faced in starting up and being where I am today. But I can tell you the only reason why I made it out or say I'm still making it out of those challenges is because there was a resolve from my end to just be diligent and do what I need to do right. You know, and so when the challenges came and now they are still coming, the first thing that comes to my mind is how can you come out of this with your reputation intact? That's pretty much my thinking and my mindset. And those are the situations that I've had to deal with, you know, in terms of dealing with challenges when it came to my career.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir. I have learned a lot from this, and I have no doubt that the attendees, they are also drawing a lot of strength from what you just shared, talking about the values that have kept you going, talking about having faith in yourself to overcome challenges, integrity, transparency, accountability. These are values that we really need to preach to this generation.
Very, very important.
Really
if I may, let me add to that. I'm sorry for those who are watching will understand that so one of the most important, apart from the fact that you have knowledge, you're intelligent, you're smart, you're beautiful, whatever it is, one of the things I must understand, for you to survive any business in this life, you must have a high level of integrity. It's very, very important, because people must have a sense of trust. They must understand that if I enter Arik Air, I know that this flight will go and land safe. It's about the integrity of who the pilots are. Do you understand? It's pretty much saying, oh, I trust you with my money, take. And then the person will go, because what they want to experience is some sort of peace, that I gave this person something to do and I don't have to worry about the person. And so for you to survive in business, you must be seen as somebody who has a high level of integrity. Because when I come to you and I tell you, my product is 10 million naira, and you know that you have dealt with me before, and you gave me that amount of money, and I diligently did the work and I brought it. When I tell you tomorrow it has increased to 15 million, you will not argue, because you know that I'm going to do and diligently deliver. I mean, I keep hearing stories about how banks are rushing to go and meet Dangote to collect money from them. Why? Because they say the guy has a high level of responsibility and integrity that every loan that he takes, he pays back. You know, so banks are willing to give him money. It's integrity. So if you're going to go into business, and if whatever business it is, even if it is frying akara, I need to know that when I go to that akara spot, do you understand? There is a level of consistency in your akara, and even if it changes, you will tell me, oh, okay, sorry, today I put small sausage inside the akara. I hope you don't mind sausage inside the akara. That is integrity. So that if I'm allergic to sausage, I know that, oh, I bought akara that has sausage, I don't have to eat it. And if I say to her, oh, sorry, I don't eat sausage, so okay, no worry, I'll fry your own without sausage. That is integrity. You're concerned about me. It's as simple as that. If the integrity is that you set up your akara joint in a place where it is neat, it is clean. When I come, I know that I'm eating something that will not harm me. It's integrity. You know that you did not buy cheap beans that has too much weevils in it. Why? Because you're trying to save money. No, you bought the highest quality of beans so that your akara is fluffy. That is integrity. You're not going to the meat seller to go and buy fat and you put in soup and you tell me it's meat. No, you insist in getting the flesh. That is integrity. So for business people, and that's something that I always emphasize, make sure that whoever you're dealing with, of course, it's not all the time that you get it right. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect. There are times where I failed. I mean, I've disappointed people. But I can bet you that 90% of the time that I had to deal on a bigger scale, I've had to show some level of integrity. So those are the things that also drive a good business person. I just wanted to throw in that right in there.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Well, one thing I believe, or which we all know, is that for you to have such sound values, you must have some people that you look up to, who, let's call them role models, call them mentors, people that serve as a guide for you. So, and this being our mentorship month, can you shed more light on who your mentors are, how they have guided your paths, and do you also have people that you currently mentor? And then before you answer that, I want to address the participants because we'll be ending this event in the next 15 minutes. If you have any questions, please drop it in the question and answer section or in the chat section. And Mr. Dimbo is going to answer your question. We already have a question from Ajiboye Joseph. We are going to take that later. But for now, let's hear Mr. Dimbo's views on mentorship.
Yeah. I mean, so one thing you must understand is that there are people who have done this thing before you, and they have gone through all the hurdles in order for you to reduce your stress time, in order for you to reduce the time in which you can achieve things. You must find people who have done this thing and they've answered the questions of the issues that you're dealing with right now. That way, it's an easy path for you to cross that place fast and move. Nobody has time to wait, you know. And so mentorship is very important in everything that we do in this life. It could be spiritual, it could be whatever it is, but mentorship is important. At some point, I knew that I needed to surround myself with people. First of all, apart from my parents, who are the biggest mentors, you know, that I've always seen in this life. Not that they had some big achievements, you know, but they were just very correct people who their heads were on their shoulders. So that itself is the mentoring that I've gotten from them. You must live a diligent life. You know, we are poor, but we will not go and steal. We are poor, but we will not go and live a life that is not our own. Those are things I learned from my parents. And so early in my life, I realized that I needed to be content with whatever it is that I have. My parents were content people. They were not overzealous. They were not over ambitious. They were not lying to anybody. They were not faking anything. So I learned that from them, that we managed the salary that we had. We ate whatever it is we had, and we stayed as a family. So that mentorship was there. That I took from them. And, you know, growing up, I decided to grow with a bunch of friends that I knew were positive influences in my life. You know, so I have friends from childhood that till today we're friends, and it's simply because they are people that I value. In many ways, they mentor me every day. Knowing that their friendship is there, I can always count on it is very important. And when I got into adulthood, I also kept a bunch of friends: Polycarp, Plan G, Dikoko, Ponchak, H. These are guys who are just guys that till today I can take a bullet for. You know, and these are all with their shortcomings. Every day, if I need any kind of counsel, these are the people that I go to, you know. And then, of course, I got married. And then, of course, my wife became a mentor also. Because I can bet you and I can tell you that at some point when I found myself doing the things that I'm doing, the push came from my wife. My wife lives with a disability. Her left leg, she wears a metal plate on her left leg. And so she limps when she walks. And it's not an easy thing for her to live her life. But if there's any hustler that I know in this world, it is my wife. My wife is a hustler. Like she does not take no for an answer. And I've learned that from her. Knowing that even with her disability, she's able to achieve things. What excuse do I have? And so she has become a big part of me. But when it came to the industry, so to say, that is so generally my life, you know. And don't forget that also I have spiritual mentors. That is for my personal life now. 2 people have mentored me spiritually in this life. And these are 2 people that I admire a lot. Pastor Sarah Marku from Family Worship Center, who I met at the point when I needed to make big decisions in my life. Her simple teaching, the down-to-earth about it was what made me understand that this Jesus or this God that I follow is not complicated. But then there was somebody who from the very beginning, apart from my foundation in church, somebody who truly mentored me in the spirit of excellence is Pastor Duncan Gomo, Covenant World Christian Center International in Jos. Oh no, you don't understand. Pastor Duke. See, Pastor's spirit of excellence is so on point that everything that he does is calculated. Like he doesn't do things anyhow. And that's how I learned that spirit of excellence. Knowing that I had a mentor, spiritual mentor from him. Everything that I do, if you see me excellent in what I'm doing, is because I had a pastor who spiritually mentored me there. But then coming to the industry, one man that I admired a long time ago was Steve Lucas. Till today, Steve Lucas is my oga. He's my boss. I call him tomorrow. I can call him and say, "Sir, I have this problem," and Steve will give me his time. Steve is not big on material things. Like, he's not the kind of person that will give you plenty money or you know. But the knowledge that this man has collected over the years with his experience, the intelligence of this man is all I covet all the time. Like I can literally sit down and listen to Steve talk for the entire day. Why? Because there is the depth of knowledge. Everything that I do, I try to model after him. So I see him and I study him, his approach to work, the work ethic, the excellence, whatever it is that he does. These are things that so in the whole of this industry, there's one person that I go to when I need counsel and I need advice, and that is Steve Lucas, you know. And then other than that, there are other industry people from Tyler Perry, Will Parker, Shonda Rhimes. Those are international people that have mentored me, you know. And then, of course, if you come down here locally, Mo Abudu is a huge mentor. I mean, I've worked with her and I know the kind of person that she is. You know, so for mentorship, it's very important that you have people in your life. Right now, I have almost about 6-7 people that I believe I am mentoring. These are people that have taken in and they're working with me, and I can see the growth that they're going into. And they call me when they need counsel and when they need advice. They come to me when they want to show me whatever they've done. They get my opinion on what they are doing. Two of them worked on the film. Until today, they are consulting me on what I think. My opinion is important to them. And so I found it relevant to make sure that I'm very honest and straightforward with them, because I need to make sure that they understand if they're doing right or wrong. So yeah, I totally succumb, and I totally recommend that in everything that you do. Again, I'll come down to Akara seller. Who is the best Akara maker that you know? Make sure that you always have a conversation with this person. Maybe the person knows that the beans that was harvested in April makes better Akara than the beans that was harvested in May. It could be a trade secret. You never know. So unless you speak to people, you will probably understand that, oh, there is a certain kind of atarugu that you must use for the Akara to be fluffy. These are trade secrets that only mentors can tell you and be honest with you about it. So I've come to realize that for me to be good at what I'm doing, I need to consult people who understand. For those who I don't have access to, I study their work and I make sure that whatever I'm doing is modeled after what they've done. So please make sure that you have mentors out there. Very, very important.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for that answer. I want to recognize the presence of one of my own mentors in the house right now, Mr. Sam Sema, who is also a mentor. Is live with us. Okay, so our time is fast spent, and I can see 5 questions already. So, sir, I would appreciate if you can just hit the nail with these 5 questions.
So far I'm only seeing. I'm only seeing.
Okay, I'll read them out.
Can I read them out? Yes, I can only see one question here. Okay, you can read them out for me, it's fine.
Okay, so Ajiboye Joseph said, I have a passion to be a filmmaker. I want to ask Mr. Dimbo Atiya. I want to ask if Mr. Dimbo Atiya also handles filmmaking trainings.
Yeah, okay, so quickly, yes. So what I've realized over time is that there's a need for this thing. It's very, very important. And other than me, please know that there are 1,001 other film making classes on YouTube, and they're free. Of course, you need to get some data. If there's anything that I've learned from, it's really going on YouTube and other platforms to learn from other people. For me, I started something called the Entertainment School in Lagos. I was basically to basically teach people filmmaking, and recently we've been thinking about bringing the entertainment school back. So please look out for the entertainment school. It will come up soon, and we hope that we can do some small training, very basic training about filmmaking and other aspects of entertainment. And that's what we intend to do. But if I don't have any material out there right now, and you don't have access to me, so to say, there are 1,001 other materials on YouTube. All you need to do is just get small data, go on YouTube, Google how to make a movie with a phone, or Google how to make a cheap movie, and you'll be shocked the kind of materials that are out there. I have helped myself, other than going to school, with those kind of information. But I'll definitely have some material out very soon.
Okay, thank you, sir. Nasiru A. Ahmad asked this to ask, what's your advice to those who are willing to change their location for business-related purposes?
Well, see, trust me, if you're really passionate about what you're doing and you're very, very sure, you're convinced that your next move is very important for your business, it's really very allowed. Like I said, first of all, but you must do your research and make sure that you're not just making a move that will destroy whatever it is. So the research is where I am right now, what are the disadvantages? Why am I not growing? Because unless you exploit and you expose or get to go through all the options that suggest that where you are right now is not helping you, I suggest that you make sure that you do that first before you take the job. For me, when it came to making that decision, I came to a point where I realized that it would not happen for me if I stay here. I need to move forward because the opportunities are actually out there. And to be honest with you, the decision wasn't that hard because I knew that I had a mother who stayed in Abuja. It was always going to be embarrassing for me to sleep on her couch. But then I had a house in Jos that I was going to leave to go and sleep on another couch. You understand? How am I going to extend that to my girlfriend? Those are the kind of things that were in my head. So I suggest that if you feel that wherever you want to move to is the right place for you to go get this thing, then you must have done your research, knowing that the moment you step into the new location, then your things are going to be better. Other than that, if you go there and things don't start working out, the frustration sets in, and before you know it, you now start questioning yourself and da 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 da. And most times, these days we're very hurry things for things to happen fast. It might take a little grind for the thing to set. So if you're going to make the move, know that you have made the move, and whatever it is, you must succeed where you are. And before you tell yourself it is not working, you must make sure that you check and exploited all options, and the options are not giving you anything better. Then you tell yourself, okay, no, it's time to move. So I would suggest that you make sure that you exploit all the options before you take the move. But it is necessary that location change can help your product or can help your business be better.
Thank you, sir. Interestingly, the next question is also talking about Jos and moving out of Jos by Apollo's Grace. She said starting up a business in Jos seems to be very difficult. And then she's asking, should I just move or stay and fix it? So that's a question. Should she move out of Jos or stay in Jos and fix the problems that we have in Jos?
Yeah. And that's the thing. So as an entrepreneur, once you say you're an entrepreneur, the first thing is you know how to fix problems. You understand? So like I said, before you make a move, make sure that you've exploited all the angles. Check and make sure that everything that you have done concerning your business has not helped it. Is it that where you are right now, even in the job, if you are, say for example, you are in Tudunwada, and that's where your location is, and your business is actually supposed to be somewhere in Rayfield, then that's the first thinking that you must think, not necessarily leave the city, So those are the kind of considerations I must do. Who are your target market? So those are the things that we don't do. We just own businesses and we think that, oh, it's not a business that I have. No, you must also define your target market. So maybe you check and say to yourself, maybe I'm advertising or I'm reaching out to the wrong people. You'll be surprised, maybe your market is in Plapoli. Maybe the Plapoli girls are your market. You'll be surprised, maybe your market is even in Barikin-Ladi. You never know. So until you find and define all of those things, you're not sure that leaving Jos will make you work. Because if you leave Jos and come to Abuja and you go and stay in Abacha Road in Nyanya, meanwhile, actually, you're supposed to be in Asokoro. That's where your product is. Who will go to the Abacha Road in Nyanya and go and look for you? So at the end of the day, you made a big move. You're paying more rent in Abuja. You're suffering in Abuja, and your business is still not picking. Why? Because the simple thing that you should have done in Jos, you did not do. You thought it was not moving from Jos to Abuja. No, that doesn't work like that. So stay in Jos. Find out who your market is. How can I get to my market? Once you define all of those things, and you see that the market is not there, you say, okay, no, just people, they are not fly when it comes to what I'm selling. Let me go to Abuja, come keep base there, Abuja, they probably understand me. So you come to Abuja, same market, you target them, and Abuja, maybe they are richer people in Abuja, and they're willing to spend more money. So that's how you have to do it. So until you, like I said, you go through all of those situations, you are not sure that, you're ready to move out of job. Mine, it was time to go. I considered everything, put everything on the table, and I knew that it was the right move, and I've not regretted it till today.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We have more questions coming in, but unfortunately, our time is fast spent. Okay. So we'll just take two more. Just take two more questions, and then we'll call it. Okay. All right. So we have a question from Eric Nale. He said,
okay.
Eric Nale from NHub, and his question goes thus: what do you see as the future of the creative industry in Jos, given the poor infrastructure of the sector?
I think that, okay, so one thing I've noticed is that we have a sense of community in Jos, and that is something that we're not expected for growth in terms of making money. Where in Jos, I don't know about maybe the young cats right now, all the young people, I'm not sure right now, but I know that in Jos, we collaborate to do projects, and that is a beautiful thing. And so for me, I feel that if the creative industry in Jos will begin to understand that this collaboration can make money for us, then it's very good. Because then what it means that is that everybody comes with his lean resources to put them together. For example, maybe there are people who own cameras in Jos, but they don't own sound equipment. There are people who know how to write, but they don't have money to shoot the movie. There's somebody who probably has some money, he doesn't know what to do with it. If all those indices come together, they can tell a story, shoot it, and make a movie. that they will sell to Africa Magic or put it on YouTube and make money from. Do you understand? The future of film or the creative industry is harnessing this collaborative effort that we have and turning it into a money-making machine. And that we must make the effort to also be futuristic in the way we think. Why? Because we are not, see, the thing about Just is that Just gives you the platform or the avenue or the background to think straight, to think well, and to go through a good process. So if only people can collaborate more and say, let's put our resources together, because if you're going to do it individually, it will not work. That's the problem with the creative industry. People cannot fund projects on their own because the economic power of justice is limited. But if 5, 6 people come together and say, no, let's be honest, people are monetizing video skits on YouTube and they're making hundreds of dollars. What will it take 5 people to say we're putting 20,000 naira together? That's 100,000 naira, and we do a small skit and put it up on YouTube and generate something that's fun and people are millions of hits and you're making money from it. Why are we not thinking like that? So don't wait to build a big industry or a big team house. No, the small collaborations, that can help us grow in the industry. But I also think also that the government will have to somehow find a way to help subsidize this thing. They can create hubs where people can go easily meet up. I remember there was a time one of the gubernatorial candidates, we had a conversation. The idea was to create hubs in all the hot spots of creativity in Jos, where young people can walk in and there's a studio that they can sit and create music. They can make movies, and those were the thoughts. I don't know about what's happening right now. But for it to grow in Jos, collaboration and putting our resources together, that's something that we must start thinking, and that's something that we must do.
Thank you very much for that answer, sir. And then we'll take one more question, and this is coming from Gold Owen.
Okay.
The question is, what do you have for musicians like us? Obviously, he's a musician. Do you have anything for those in the music industry?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, music is life. Without music, our world would be boring. Without music, our world would be dry. It would just be empty, And so for everybody that has been gifted with the skill of music and you can actually sing or produce or put songs together, I mean, it's something that you must check and tell yourself, what am I doing wrong? Because you must put music in a way that it catches the attention of people. So songwriting is a skill. Because a lot of times people think, oh, because you wrote one, put lyrics together. No, there is emotion in the way you write. It is a story that has to drive you from point A to point B. Do you understand the technique of writing songs? So it's not just you scribbling words and thinking that you've written songs. No, it's emotion to you. These people that are making millions from these songs, it's not that they are better than you. They are not probably arranging better lyrics and the emotion of the song is arranged better than the way you are doing your own, And for heaven's sake, why are you people not making money from putting your music out there? I mean, the internet is free. There's so many platforms that you can make money from streaming music. All you have to do is sing and get the emotion of the music. And the truth is that a lot of the musicians that I know do not connect with their music personally. They just play chords and just write lyrics. No. Every time that I've seen a documentary or I've seen a reality show or any musician that has made it talk about music, they always tell you about how the album that I produced this year was because of 3 years of the situation that I went through. And so everything that you're hearing is me pouring out from my heart. So these are things that they relate to. So when they sing, we believe them. Because these are things that we connect with. What are you singing that is the experience that you have? Do you understand? Have you been heartbroken before? How did you deal with it? Put it in a song. It will help somebody out there. Have you been in love before? What did you feel like? Your own experience. Don't tell me butterflies in your stomach. That's a lie. A lot of times people don't feel that butterfly in your stomach. It probably be you felt something different. It tasted like Gary. That's really what how it tasted or it felt to you. Say it the way you understand it. That's the only way that you can make music that people will feel is different from what any other person is doing. Nigeria, once somebody does Tinkolo music, the next thing you want to do is enter studio Tinkolo, oh, your booty is bam bam and shit. No, these are things that you probably don't have any experience with. You're talking about cars that you probably never drive in your life. How am I supposed to believe you when I know that you're faking it? You're telling me about gold chains that cost you $10 million. From where? Do you understand? I mean, why don't you talk about the one jeans that you had and you were washing and drying and praying for Harmattan to come, so that when you wash the jeans this morning by noon, it has dried, you wear it and go out. That is an experience that I want to hear you talk about. So good. For those of you who are musicians, don't sing for me what other people are experiencing, because I cannot connect with you. Tell me what is it that you experience personally. So when I listen to you, there's a connection. And that way I feel something there. Don't go and tell me about a Ferrari that you will never see in your life. That's pretty much the problem that we have with musicians these days. They think about things that they really cannot connect with or don't have any experience with. And that's pretty much where the problem is. And like I said, there's so many ways that you can make money from music. Spotify, Apple, whatever. People are buying. Trust me. Stop telling yourself that there's no money there. It's a lie. If you do something that's fantastic, people will pay money for it.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir. We are finally coming to an end of this of this virtual fireside chat. It's really been a very enlightening session. One last question, sir, before we call it today.
Yes. Okay.
What advice do you have for entrepreneurs going forward, considering what the world is going through now, the COVID-19 pandemic? How do you, how would you advise entrepreneurs to adapt to the new reality? And then also, what advice do you have for our government? I know you are a lover of Nigeria. It shows even in what you are putting on. And then I also know that you are someone that you make a lot of social comments. Yes, on Facebook, you really talk about what's happening in the society. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs, and what advice do you have for the people in power?
There was something that everybody must understand, that when we come out of this COVID-19 experience, things are not going to be normal. And it's the basic general narrative that things are going to change. The way we view the economy of the world is going to greatly change. Whatever is happening right now is going to affect the economy of this country, and it's going to affect every business and every sector in this country. And so for us to adjust, you must start thinking how I will adjust and make this thing work. And let me tell you, one of the first things that you must understand, that consumer behavior is going to change. That is a thing that you cannot overlook. Why? Because people are going to come out of this thing maybe either broke, they're going to be coming out of this thing afraid. And so people are going to be wiser now in how they spend or how they engage products and services. So if you were paying premium bouquet on your DSTV whatever, trust me, some people will now start going for GoTV or look for those starter whatever, the cheaper ones. Consumer behavior is going to change, and people are going to be very careful with their money, and they will only trust people that they know will not waste their money. So this is what you must do. Somebody that I admire a lot, his name is Danny Craig, said something to me one time, and it's a business principle that I have taken all my life that has worked for me. Under promise and over deliver is a business principle. As an entrepreneur, make sure that you under promise and over deliver. And let me explain to you. In this time that we're coming, like I said, consumer behavior is going to change. People are going to be wiser with their money, and they're going to be prudent. People are going to engage only products and services that they know will not waste their time or waste their money. There's not going to be any wastage of buying and whatever. And so the only people that will be engaged in terms of businesses when we come out of this thing are people that I know if I give you my 10 naira, you're going to give me the value of my 10 naira. But see, if you want more people to come to me, if I give you 10 naira and you give me the value of 12 naira, I will go around and be shouting, you don't understand. This thing was supposed to cost me this, but this thing did. So when you're going to do, make sure that whatever it is you're putting sounds like it's cheap. Do you understand? So that when you do it and it looks better than the way the expectation that the person he was expecting from you, the person will say, oh no, this guy just blew my mind. And that becomes a reference point. And before you know it, people are looking for the one that they will give 10 naira and he will give them the value of 15 naira. That's the only way you survive. But because if there's any talk about, say, I gave him 10 naira and he brought me 2 naira value, people run away from you because nobody wants to waste his money. So as entrepreneurs, be careful. As we step into this, you're going to be very prudent. You're going to make sure that you're going to cut down. If before now you were using 10 ACs in your office, you're going to have to cut down maybe like 5. Because you're going to have to start. It's something that you must prepare for this period. And so I need you to be very aware that things are going to change. In terms of how government can help, to be honest with you, I think that government has to look into this seriously. Because first of all, there are too many tax issues that we have in this country. With this multiple tax thing, government can slack and say, you know what is our central focus? Can we just do this central tax thing? Every other tax in this country is suspended. Because if every state is getting revenue from the federal allocation, why should they be collecting extra taxes? Like you have like 10 other taxes that you're paying on state level and then you're also paying on federal level. So if the federal government says, okay, we're going to intensify our tax collecting revenue, and every state should suspend its own for the next 1 year so that businesses can grow and breathe, then that will work so that whatever it is they're giving them from federal revenue will be increased a little bit for the state to be able to function. So give us like a year plus so that we can actually balance in coming out of, because we're going to be cutting down costs. We're going to be reducing operations. We're going to be, the consumer power, because the purchasing power is going to reduce. Because for me, if I put a film in the cinema right now and I say it's 3,000 naira, who wants to take the 3,000 naira to go and watch a movie? Do you understand? And if I say, well, I come and pay 500 naira, at the end of the day, I'm left with not making any revenue. So I end up not benefiting from this thing. So if I know that, oh, okay, if I put 2,000 naira, I don't have to worry about the cinema people cutting my revenue and saying they're paying tax. And that will help me sleep better, you know. But bottom line is that we must all understand that our responsibility, everybody must put his hand on deck to make sure that we come out of this COVID-19 situation. That's pretty much it.